Hey, what's going on, everyone? Swinging Bull here with PB Alerts. Welcome to another earnings stream. We got the earnings for IBM coming out, and we got the earnings data for Chipotle coming out. So we'll get both of those reactions. We're going to go over Alaska Air too, obviously an airline in the airline sector, but I believe they don't report until after 5 p.m. Eastern. So maybe I'll brush on it a little bit towards the end. But the main focus is IBM and Chipotle. Okay, they both report at 4:10 p.m. Eastern, so we'll get both their reactions at the same time, pretty much. And as soon as their EPS and revenue and any guidance info comes in, we'll definitely share that with everybody. But first, don't forget we have our second annual Traders Paradise in-person event in Chicago this year. It's going to be at the Hyatt Regency over by O'Hare in Chicago. That's June 9th through the 12th. It's the second one we're doing. Last year we did Delray Beach. It was a lot of fun. This year is going to be 10 times better. So I'll talk about that a little bit more towards the end. But first, let's check out IBM and Chipotle. We got a little bit of time to burn. Like I said, they don't report until 4:10 p.m. Eastern. So a little after 4 o'clock right now. Regular session bell just rang for the closing. Hope everyone had a good trading day. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. Big news from yesterday. This was kind of dropped in after hours when Tesla were doing their earnings release. But basically, President Trump said he has no intentions on firing Fed Chair Powell. So that's obviously a good thing. And he also said that the tariffs on China aren't going to be as high as everyone thinks they're going to be. So, though he said some other things about regulatory stuff on crypto and stuff like that. Obviously, crypto's been doing well lately. Back in the 90s, what would Bitcoin do today? Let me see real quick. Where's my Bitcoin? There it is. Yeah, they're trading at 93,600-ish right now. Mara's benefiting from them. So is Coinbase. So any like crypto related stocks, a lot of them are also doing well lately. So good news yesterday. Let's see if it holds up. I mean, the low in pre-market yesterday was like 4 a.m. when the market opened, it gapped up a little bit, but at 4 a.m. SPY was at 513, ran all the way to the 540s into today. Obviously pulled back a little bit today. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's still sitting way up here from yesterday's price action. So you zoom in a little bit, it kind of looks like a lot of selling, which there was some selling, but nonetheless, in the bigger picture, it's still trading up here in the 530s from being down. I mean, even 2 days ago it was at 508, right? So it's still doing well in the grand scheme of things. But let's talk about so it's 4:04 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to zoom in on these charts. This is IBM. I'll just go 5-minute for now. And then Chipotle. Chipotle's kind of already getting like some pre-earnings price action here. They're up a little bit. Chipotle closed the regular session at $48.73 a share. They were up 3.4% today during the regular session. Sitting here in after hours at 49.01. Earnings data is not out yet. Take that with a grain of salt, but IBM closed the regular session at $245.53 a share, up almost 2% on the day. They're sitting here in after hours at 246, just above where they closed at. But so we'll see how their earnings data affects the stock price, right? Look at a couple things here. Got about 5 more minutes before the data comes out. Heat map definitely looks like a risk-on day, or at least it was. Pre-market. Yesterday after hours going into pre-market, the opening move was bullish. go back to SPY here. Then it kind of sold off from there, and but still, nonetheless, it's still sitting pretty high up here compared to where the price was on SPY yesterday. But there was a lot of risk on buying, and after hours yesterday, and pre-market today, and a little bit after the opening bell. You can see a lot of the big names here, a lot of the big tech names were up, still up. I mean, shoot, even with the selling that went on intraday today, you know, S&P is still up 1.6%. NASDAQ's up 2.2%, kind of leading the charge. The Dow's up just over 1%. VIX back below 30. You know, maybe things will calm down a little bit. Dollar was up a little bit. 10-year yield kind of flat. But definitely some risk on behavior lately. You can see the risk off stuff is what's red, kind of on the right side in the lower part of the heat map. That's all kind of like risk off stuff. Those were kind of red today, but everything risk on still held green, even with the intraday selling. So pretty good stuff there. It's about 4:06 p.m. Eastern. So we got about 4 more minutes before this earnings data comes out. IBM and Chipotle. Looking at the sector information, you got consumer discretionary up here at the top. I like seeing that. I've been nibbling on some airline companies at the bottom. So, you know, consumer discretionary's been taking a hit past month or two with the increased fear of recession, you know, percentage of recession happening, increasing. And of course, consumer discretionary going to be the first sector to get hit probably. And that's kind of what's been happening. But nice to see them bouncing back. You got tech up here at the top as well. Bottom of the pack is all your risk off stuff. So, you know, kind of paints a picture. We did have the beige book today. Didn't really move the markets, if at all. I was kind of expecting it to maybe move the market a little bit, but didn't really affect the markets too much, I don't think. Initial jobless claims is tomorrow morning. That'll probably be the market mover. Pre-market tomorrow before the opening bell. Initial jobless claims. Got durable good orders, existing home sales, and a Fed speaker later. But Friday at 10 a.m., 30 minutes after the opening bell. Consumer sentiment. We'll see how that affects the market. I know investors are watching that as well. Then next week is a lot of labor market stuff again. But yeah, that kind of sums up, you know, rest of this week, and next week is basically labor market stuff. There is PCE data, I believe, next Wednesday. Some retail inventories and stuff like that on Tuesday, but more labor market stuff, specifically Friday. You got, you know, employment, unemployment, hourly wages, stuff like that, and then initial jobless claims again on May 1st. But we'll see how the market reacts to those. 4:08 p.m. We got about 2 minutes. So IBM reports at 4:10 p.m. Eastern. Forecast EPS $1.42. Forecast revenue $14.4 billion. They're trading just under their anchored VWAP. Anchored VWAP's probably around $250 a share, and they closed at in the 240s. All right, we're already getting a reaction on IBM, so their data might be out. They're sitting up here at $258 a share right now and some change. Let me refresh my other screen, see if we got EPS and revenue, because this looks like it's some sort of reaction, obviously. This doesn't look like pre-earnings volatility. This looks like a reaction to data. So let me see if I can get something. Yeah, the earnings are out. So let me just go over this. Got the EPS and revenue. And thank you. Shout out to the earnings correspondent. Posting a nice graphic for us here. EPS, again, the forecast was $1.43. Came in at $1.60. They beat EPS by 12%. That's good. Revenue kind of came in line. I mean, the forecast, according to the earnings correspondent, was $14.39 billion was the forecast. Came in at $14.54 billion. So it's like a 15.15 billion beat there, but 1%. EPS is down 5% year over year. Revenue is up 1% year over year. Quarter over quarter numbers aren't too good, but double beat on the main lines, right? EPS and revenue. Nice double beat by IBM. Let me look for some other information on it. Okay, Chipotle getting a negative reaction. Their data must be out. Yeah, it was 4:10 p.m. Eastern, so both of these are out now. Let me see if I can get some EPS and revenue while I'm waiting to see if I got some guidance on IBM. But positive reaction by IBM so far. Chipotle wicked all the way down to 45 and some change. Now they're just kind of like volatile wick candles going on right now. So we'll see if that down move was the real move or not. But initial negative reaction on Chipotle. IBM had an initial positive reaction. Starting to take a little bit of a breather here. I'll go 1 minute chart. Let's do that. Okay. Let's just see where some of these retracement levels are here. I'm just going to start from, let's start right where the data came out. Probably start right here with it. Actually, let me go the other way with it. Okay, yeah, let's do this. Okay, so it's retraced about half of that pump already. It's kind of sitting right below 50% retracement, which puts the price around 253 bucks. We'll see if it can hold. Golden fibs around 251.53, 251.50. That's where it's at now. All right, it's coming back down, folks. Let's see if there's still buyers present. But that retraced, 78.78 retracement there on IBM after having a real nice positive reaction. I mean, this thing was up 14 bucks a share. Came all the way back down. And let's see if there's going to be some dip buyers on this dip here. Chipotle, kind of the inverse. They had a negative reaction. And now they're coming back up, trying to retrace back up. So lots of reverse unos going on right now. Let's see if they end up. Let's see what they end up doing here. I'm gonna let me put this these levels here. I'm just gonna stop start at the top of this red candle. It's fine. Go down on that wick. Okay. So some pretty wild price action on both of these stocks. Let me go back to Chipotle, and let me refresh my screen, my other monitor over here. Now, a lot of companies have been withholding guidance lately because of the whole tariff trade war. Tesla reported yesterday and withheld guidance. Okay, IBM did a reverse 180 here. They're red now. After going up to 260 and some change per share, they are now selling off. So that first reaction wasn't the real reaction. We see that a lot too. So don't be going nuts on that first reaction, trying to trade it. Sometimes it's best to just kind of be a little patient, because a lot of times that first reaction is not the real one. You don't want to get caught. Let's see what we got here. Okay. I got some data here. Thanks, Evan, on Twitter for posting this nice graphic. So the revenue, the forecast was 2.95 billion. They did miss revenue by a little bit. They beat EPS also just by a little bit. Forecast EPS 0.28. That was the estimate, and it came in at 0.29. So they missed revenue but beat EPS. So they're getting a negative reaction right now. Let me go back to IBM right here on the left side of my screen. They've totally done a full reversal here, and now they are red in after hours. They closed the regular session at 245.48. Now they're down 2.25%, minus $5 or $6 a share down in after hours. Let's look at some other things here. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Tesla reported earnings yesterday, and they withheld guidance because of the tariff stuff going on. They're actually, Tesla's not going to give out guidance until Q2 now, until Q2 earnings. A lot of other companies have been doing the same thing. Okay, and also the implied move for IBM's earnings was around 6%. It's like $15 up or down. And kind of hit the expected move at that initial positive reaction was up 14, $15. That was the expected move right there. Total 180, and now it's down. Okay, give me 1 second here. Let me see if we got anything else on Chipotle. I'll just show this real quick. Chipotle on the right side of my screen, they did get a negative reaction. They did make an attempt to claw back and reverse, but got rejected. It's back down here, but so we went over this a little bit already, but the year over year and quarter over quarter numbers are good. I mean, they're green, and I guess revenue 1% quarter over quarter is not much of a difference, but EPS up 16% quarter over quarter, and the revenue up 6% year over year. So it's not bad, but they're still getting a negative reaction nonetheless. I got Pookie in the chat over here in Discord. Thanks for joining the party. Let's go back to SPY real quick. I just want to see. Okay, SPY and Qs they're holding up in after hours. But looks like we got 2 negative reactions after a little fake out on IBM. IBM had an initial positive reaction, total fake out. Now it's completely went the opposite direction now. All right, so we got EPS and revenue for both IBM and Chipotle. Nothing really fantastical about the EPS and revenue data. It's not like they smashed it out of the park or anything. So let's take a look at this. A couple of statements from the higher ups at IBM. Of course, I can already, before I even read this, I have a feeling they're going to sugarcoat all this stuff. So it's getting a negative reaction. So they're going to have all these fancy words in their statements that really don't hold much weight. So IBM says, this is from their the chairman and the CEO. We exceeded expectations for revenue, profitability, and free cash flow in the quarter, led by strength across our software portfolio. There continues to be strong demand for generative AI, and our book of business stands at more than $6 billion inception to date, up more than $1 billion in the quarter, said the IBM chairman, Arvind Krishna, also the president and CEO. We remain bullish on the long-term growth opportunities for technology and global economy. While the macroeconomic environment is fluid, based on what we know today, we are maintaining our full-year expectations for revenue growth and free cash flow. All right, so fiscal year 2025, they didn't increase guidance, nor did they decrease it. They maintained it. So no change in guidance. Maybe that was what, maybe, because their involvement in all the AI stuff, maybe investors were thinking that, maybe they would increase their guidance for whatever reason, but no change on the full year expectation. So that didn't change. So at least they didn't say, oh, we're going to withhold it until next earnings like Tesla did. They at least said, hey, we have guidance and we're not changing it. And they're just going to maintain it. And that's for the fiscal year. Chipotle's still down. They just tested that wick low at 45.60. They just tested that. Let's see if they can hold above 45.60. Okay, more from IBM. They say revenue growth once again led by software combined with our productivity initiatives drove significant gross margin expansion and operating leverage in the quarter. That was said by James Kavanaugh, the IBM Senior Vice President and CFO. With our focus on the fundamentals of our business, we continue to maintain a strong liquidity position and yield solid free cash flow. This enables us to both invest in our business and return value to shareholders through dividends. Okay, IBM is currently down 2.3% in after hours. That's $5.73 a share in the red. One thing that really hit IBM hard, I think that investors aren't liking, is their quarter over quarter revenue and EPS kind of took a pretty big hit. That's kind of short-term looking. The year-over-year revenue was only up 1%. That's not really a lot of growth, is it? The EPS year-over-year was down 5%. I think what's really hurting them now is the shorter-term look here is since the last earnings, quarter over quarter, their EPS is down 59%. Ouch. Look at Chipotle trying to fish hook up here. Also with IBM, their quarter over quarter revenue was down 17%. That's not good. Okay, so they're not catching a bid. Investors, it's having a negative reaction. Okay, also they did not hit free cash flow estimates. That's another reason. And I knew that the statements that the CEO and CFO were saying, they're like, yeah, we got free cash flow. And it's like, and then they sugarcoat all these words and make things look all fantastical in their statements. They missed free cash flow on the guidance. So yes, they did maintain, basically the Q2 2025 guidance basically remained. They did increase the remainder of Q2 guidance. That did go up a little bit. But the fiscal year guidance, they reduced the free cash flow. The estimate was 13.72 billion. Now they're only saying 13.5 billion. I think that's really what's rattling investors with IBM now. And then, like I say, of course, in the CFO and CEO statements, they're all like saying all these magical words to make it seem all positive. But free cash flow guidance was decreased, not good. And that's what we're seeing in the price action. IBM is down to 237.7 a share. So they're down a solid 3% now. Let's see if there's going to be any dip buyers. Probably wait for it to bottom out if you're going to consider that. Not financial advice, but don't want to catch a falling knife, of course. And it's probably better just to sacrifice a little bit. When it finally does reverse and start trending up, maybe just sacrifice a little bit of the beginning of that reversal to confirm that, okay, the bottom's in, it's starting to make higher lows. Maybe that'd be better than trying to buy the dip when it hasn't bottomed yet. So just try and be smart about it because it just made a new after hours low. I'm going to get rid of this Fibonacci because it's just keeps it's going to it's continuing to make new after hours low. So I'll drop back on once it looks like it's going to start bottoming again. Chipotle trying to claw back. This looks okay. They came down to 45.60 a share after closing the regular session at 48.7. They hit a bottom of 45.60. Got some green candles in succession. Could be something here. Let's hope it doesn't turn into one of those infamous bearish H patterns that we trade all the time. IBM still making lows. It just hit basically 234 a share after closing the regular session at 245. That's an $11 down move from where they closed at. Even a bigger down move if you're counting when they wicked up to 260, that initial reaction. Now they're sitting down here at 235. It's a $25 range there that just went. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything else on IBM. But yeah, they reduced guidance on their free cash flow. I think that's really what's hurting them right now. Everything else doesn't seem too bad, except not really much growth with the revenue. Specifically, quarter over quarter was what really got them. And year over year was not good. So they're having issues with growth, and they reduced guidance on free cash flow. And that's leading to what we're seeing here. So it looks like, we got the reaction on IBM. Keep your eye on it. See if it starts making higher lows for the, we still got, about 3.5 more hours in after hours price action. And then, of course, the pre-market data. But you want to start seeing this making higher lows before you you get too interested. So we got the IBM reaction. It's almost 4:30 here. We got the Chipotle reaction, which was negative, trying to retrace now. It has broken a couple levels now, so that's good. Let me actually reverse this fib real quick. Let me actually go the other way. Okay, there we go. So it is breaking some levels. It did get through the 25% retrace, which is around 46.6, I'd call it. Working on the second fib level, kind of hitting its head on it right now. That puts you right around 47 bucks a share. So definitely would like to see Chipotle get above 47, and then probably nice clean levels. So R1 47, would like to see Chipotle get back above there. R2 resistance 2, probably around 47.50. So just like the 50-cent range there from R1 to R2. And of course, S1 would be 46.50, and then probably 45.75 for S2 on that one. But like I say, I normally don't get too excited about these retracements until more of these levels start breaking. And then my confidence that this is in fact retracing and reversing, my confidence gets a lot better at that point. But still got some key levels to break through. 47.50 would be nice. That'll be a 50% retrace there. Then you got the golden fib around 48 bucks. I'd probably call that level. Until those levels start breaking, I'm probably have no interest on going long on this. And then of course, probably want to start, going into tomorrow's session. We want to start seeing higher lows on some of the, not the super big time frames, but we're only on the 1 minute chart here. But that's the only data we have to go off of since the earnings data was released. So going into tomorrow, be checking the 5, the 15 minute, and maybe the hourly. Start seeing if you can spot some higher lows, and then maybe that could be a good sign that the bottom's in, right? So until that happens, you're just kind of gambling, really. But with that said, yeah, it's almost 4:30. We got the reactions. Negative reaction on IBM. They reduced their free cash flow guidance. I think that's what's hurting them. Literally no year-over-year growth whatsoever, and the quarter-over-quarter growth is not good either for EPS or revenue. No growth at all there. So just not a good recipe for IBM and their earnings. And at first, it had a positive reaction, made a nice move. And then I think once investors started digesting the actual earnings data, with a fine-tooth comb going through everything, they realized they reduced their free cash flow guidance. And that's probably all it took. And boom, you got the reaction. Couple that with no growth year over year and no growth quarter over quarter. That's what you get. Chipotle had an initial negative reaction. Their earnings weren't bad. Their year over year and quarter over quarter numbers were actually pretty good. You can see down here on the bottom left. They did miss revenue though. That's revenue is important, holds a lot of weight. But they did beat EPS. So kind of a mixed bag with EPS and revenue. But they are showing a little bit of growth. Nothing crazy like smashing the numbers and stuff like that. But there's some growth there with EPS and revenue at least. So they had an initial negative reaction. They're trying to form a bottom. Like I say, same thing with this one. Just keep your eye on it. Still got about 3.5 more hours for after hours price action. And then of course, pre-market data, just keep your eye out for some higher lows. You want to start seeing them not only on the 1 minute, but the 5, the 15. And as we get closer to the regular session tomorrow and check the hourly, you start spotting some higher lows, then our confidence that the bottom's in should be higher a little bit there. So keep your eye on it. It's about 4:30 p.m. To close it up, I wanted to talk about Trader's Paradise again. Just a quick little run through because the event is June 9th through the 12th. So there's only like 40 something days left until the event. We've already sold quite a few tickets. We still have tickets for sale. So it's going to be in Chicago this year. Last year we did Delray Beach. It was a ton of fun. This year's in Chicago. It's at the Hyatt Regency, June 9th through the 12th. Okay. There is a link in the description of this stream where you can find all the Traders Paradise info I'm about to go over. And just to kind of break it down, kind of give you a peek under the hood, if you will, kind of what you can expect to experience at the Traders Paradise is we're going to be doing live trading at market open every day. So bring your laptop so you can trade right along with us. There's going to be interactive workshops. Those are designed to identify your biggest blockers and hopefully give you a breakthrough moment, right? We're going to do a live masterclass on advanced options and swing trading. That's probably going to be my session there. I do have some new advanced option strategies that I'm going to be showing everyone. So I'm looking forward to that. We're also going to have an AI. SK on YouTube asks, is CMG a buy? Like I said, it does look like it's trying to retrace. I would feel comfortable. It's trading at 47.41 right now. I would be more confident, and it is breaking some of these fib levels. If you're going to trade it in after hours, also, understand stops don't work. So you're going to have to manually stop it with a limit order if it goes against you. But 50% of this sell-off move, the 50% level of retracement is around 47.50. I'd like to see it above there for extra vote of confidence. If it gets back above 48, I think it's good. Chipotle earnings was kind of a mixed bag. They missed revenue by 7%, or I'm sorry, by 3%. And they just barely beat EPS. It came in line. The year over year and quarter over quarter numbers, there was some growth there, but it wasn't anything crazy. SK said you had a buy order at 46. Yeah, and if that obviously was a limit order, then it looks like, if you got filled on that, you're up, what, $1, a little over $1 a share right now. I don't want to see this going back below 46.50, because if that happens, it's probably going to come down and make a new low a day, I would think. So, be cautious. Not financial advice, but trade your portfolio accordingly. You want to start, spotting higher lows. As long as you can start spotting higher lows, then you can kind of anticipate when it goes to make the next higher low. Maybe it pulls back a little bit and makes the next leg up from there. But that's what I like to do personally, is just spot higher lows, and that tells me that, okay, not only is the bottom probably in, it's making higher lows, and couple that with some of these fib levels breaking to the upside. Like I said, I'd be a lot more confident that this is in fact reversing if it gets above 48 bucks. That's my opinion anyway. Player 45 on YouTube. Why is IBM going down? The problem is they reduced their guidance on free cash flow. Investors hate that. All right. And to be honest with you, the earnings, in my opinion, were not good. I mean, let me just explain a couple of things why I think they weren't good is because numbers, the forward guidance for free cash flow. I think what investors aren't like, yes, they did beat EPS. They beat that by 12%. Revenue basically came in line. They only beat that by 1%. I think what's really hurting them, once you couple this with the they reduced their guidance on free cash flow, is there's no growth. Yeah, they beat the forecast, but look at the year over year numbers and the quarter over quarter numbers. The quarter over quarter growth got crushed. EPS down 59% quarter over quarter, revenue down 17% quarter over quarter. It's kind of a short term look, right? Because it's only quarter over quarter, not year over year. But short term, the growth got hammered. In the year over year numbers, there's just not much there. I mean, EPS was down 5% year over year. Revenue up 1% year over year. I think investors wanted to maybe see that year over year number better than 1%. I mean, 1% over the whole year from the same time last year, that's basically the nothing burger. So I think it's more so the short-term look, quarter over quarter, they got hammered. Just the growth's not there. And then they reduced free cash flow guidance. So couple those two together, and that's just kind of the recipe of selling. I hope maybe that helps paint a little picture for you there, player on YouTube. If you're a bull, don't, it's not all doom and gloom. IBM's going to be just fine. It's just they're having a negative reaction right now. They'll be fine in due time. They're very much a profitable company. Just take a quick peek at the income statement real quick. Quarterly. Yeah, I mean, the last time they did earnings, they made almost $3 billion profit. That's positive net income. Q3 of last year was a little, they're kind of a little tough for them, but overall, they're going to be just fine. Very profitable company overall. Debt to asset 80% and downtrending on an annual basis. That's good. So if you're an IBM bull, I know it kind of sucks to look at right now because of the reaction we're getting, but this is what happens when there's no growth and they reduce free cash flow guidance, and that's what you get. But just wait for higher lows to start forming on the bigger time frames and to kind of give you a signal that the bottom's probably in. And look at it this way, it could be, you could maybe get a good discount on it, maybe try and scoop up some when it's on its way back up. This is kind of my opinion about it, but again, not all doom and gloom with the IBM bulls, because it will bottom, and maybe it could just be, look at it as a discount, because they're going to be just fine. Okay. Anyways, back to Trader's Paradise just real quick. So we're going to talk about the live masterclasses we're going to do on advanced options. The owner, Big Quench, his name's Austin. He's going to be there. He's going to show everyone his advanced range trading techniques and strategies. Absolutely, player from YouTube. You got it. I do these earnings streams every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I'm always here every week at 4 p.m. Eastern. Shy Balor for there's about 500 people tuning in. I'm probably a lot from Twitter. Everyone on Twitter knows Shy Balor. He's also part of our PB family, and we're happy to have him part of the team. He's going to do an AI and tech-based deep dive at Trader's Paradise in Chicago. He's going to let everyone know where institutions are placing their bets from now until the rest of 2025. You don't want to miss that. I like following where the big money is going, and he has his pulse on that kind of stuff. And we do have a very special guest that's going to be in Chicago with us for this Trader's Paradise, Lou Bassanisi. I know a lot of you have seen him on TV. He's done broadcasts on a lot of financial media networks. He's been on Fox News and all kinds of other places, CNBC, and Lou Bassanisi is going to have his own session there. And it's basically, he's going to help everyone develop as an investor. All right. Because he's more of an investor. All right. And, but it's going to be nice to pick his brain and ask him questions and hear what he has to say. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're also introducing a new trading view indicator you don't want to miss. And once you get your ticket, there's 3 tickets to choose from. There's a bronze ticket, a silver ticket, and a gold ticket. Regardless of which one you get, call the hotel room. It's the Regency, the Hyatt Regency in Chicago. And it's got the address and everything right here. Again, the link to this page I'm looking at is in the description of this stream. Just click on it. It'll take you here. This is the Hyatt Regency, O'Hare, Chicago. Very nice hotel. It's got the address and everything. But as soon as you get your ticket, call the hotel room, because we reserved a block of 50 hotel rooms. So, you're going to get a good discount on the hotel room. So right after you get the ticket, call the hotel. They're probably already going to know, because as soon as you buy the ticket, I believe the hotel is going to get notified electronically that you got it. But if for some reason they don't say it, just tell them you got the Trader's Paradise ticket, and then you'll be able to get one of the discounted rooms. We blocked off 50 rooms for everybody. The bronze package is for the ticket. It's live trading at market open. You get the AI and tech market deep dive with Shy Balor. You do get the trading view indicator reveal. And you also get the interactive trading obstacle workshop. So it's that's where we identify and break through mental barriers. And you also get the presentation from Lou Bassanisi. That's the guy that's been on Fox News and CNBC, and he's got his own fund and everything. So That's what's in the bronze package. It's in the bronze tickets only. You get 2 days. The entire conference is 4 days. With the bronze ticket, you get 2 days. All right. And also, every single one of these tickets right now are 40% off. So the price you see, take 40% off of that, and that's what the price is right now. I believe the 40% off special is still going for another week or two. The silver package includes everything we just talked about in the bronze ticket, but you also get the advanced options master classes and the swing trading master class. We're going to be introducing new trading strategies, a little more advanced multi-leg options. So if you're interested in that, if you want to get the silver ticket, and then Big Quench Austin, he's gonna give out his range trading techniques to everyone too that has the silver ticket. And then you also get a live Q&A session with the staff and a lot of the speakers, and you get a personal investment checklist / process with Lou Bassanisi. So you're gonna have direct contact with Lou Bassanisi on that silver ticket. The gold ticket's the top ticket. We already sold a lot of these. I do believe there's a handful of them left, but obviously everything included in the bronze and silver. But with this one, the gold ticket, you get private. You're going to have private dinners with all the speakers. We're all going to go to a private dinner. It's going to be very private and intimate. And that's where the biggest insights happen, behind closed doors. So with the gold ticket, you're going to get private VIP dinners. And you're going to be able to sit down with the top traders, basically sitting at a table with millionaires, and it's going to be a great high-level discussions going on at those dinners. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. And then, of course, with the gold ticket, you get exclusive personalized mentorship sessions. It's really high-impact type stuff, and it's designed for people who want to take trading to the next level and get real serious about stuff. So the gold ticket is really where the value is at, I think, because to get those private VIP dinners, that's where a lot of the magic's going to be talked about behind closed doors. And like I said, you can sit down with people that have been in the game for a long time, pick their brain, ask questions. It's a beautiful thing. So that's just a little rundown of our Traders Paradise in-person event in Chicago from June 9th through the 12th. All 3 tickets, the bronze, silver, and gold, all of them are 40% off right now. Links in the description if you're interested in meeting up with us. I can't wait. I was at the Delray Beach one last year. I live in Florida, so I just jumped in my truck and drove over. It was awesome. Got a chance to meet in person all the attendees that went to last year's event. We went to dinner. We live traded every morning. I showed them some new strategies to trade. We've already made quite a bit of money on those strategies too since the last event. So things have been going great. I can't wait to meet everyone that attends. And like I said, links in the description. You'll see, it'll say Traders Paradise 2025. Just click on it. It'll take you to this page, and it'll have everything I just talked about on there. All the tickets are 40% off. And again, once you get the ticket, book the hotel room right away, because we only blocked off 50 rooms. And once those rooms are filled up, you're going to have to pay full price for the hotel room. So just try and get your hotel booked as soon as possible right after you get the ticket, so you can get that discounted hotel room. But yeah, other than that, I hope I get to meet a lot of new people in Chicago in June. And if you do end up getting a ticket, again, get your hotel room booked, and pop in the Discord too. I'm Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. Make sure to jump in the Discord, tag me in the chat. I'll come say hello. And definitely looking forward to meeting y'all. But hope y'all enjoyed the earnings stream. Just a little recap on what happened. IBM initially had a positive reaction. Once investors digested the data more closely, did a complete reversal 180, and it headed down. And that's because they just didn't show much growth. Quarter over quarter EPS and revenue growth got hammered. There just wasn't any there, and it was bad. Year over year growth wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good either. There was basically no growth there, and they reduced their free cash flow guidance down. So that's a recipe for selling, and that's what's going on with IBM. But again, it's not doom and gloom. Wait for a bottom to form. Wait to start spotting some higher lows on some of the bigger time frames. That can help boost your confidence that yes, the bottom's in, and I'm not going to catch a falling knife. then maybe you can start taking some nibbles on it. Again, not financial advice, but that's what I would do. And as far as Chipotle, they had an initial negative reaction. Their earnings were a little mixed. They beat EPS by a little bit. They missed revenue by a little bit. So kind of a mixed bag there with Chipotle. However, the year over year and quarter over quarter numbers were green across the board. Maybe that's why it's trying to bottom out right now, get that initial reaction out of the way. Again, just keep your eye out for the remainder of after hours and into pre-market data for this to start making some higher lows and start breaking some of these retracement levels. Again, I'd like to see it back above 48. It's sitting right around 47 bucks right now. I'd like to see it back above 48. That would probably increase my confidence that, yes, this is retracing and it's probably safe to go ahead and take some nibbles on it. But other than that, I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. I'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big earnings day. I think it's probably a little bigger than the IBM earnings today. Tomorrow, we have, let me just scroll down. It's Intel and Google. So tomorrow's going to be big, especially with the Google earnings. So I'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern to stream the reaction to both of those. We'll get you the EPS data. We'll get you the revenue data. We'll get you any guidance info that I might see. And we'll go from there. But I hope everyone enjoyed. I hope everyone has a great night. And I'll see everyone in the next stream. Cheers, y'all. Bye.